welcome back. Today we're going to talk about what emotions really are. What does it feel like? Where do they come from? What is their purpose?
Mm-hmm.
How do we describe them? And how do the emotions affect us on a physical level, emotional level? And so we hope you'll stay tuned and we'll share the reason for this show in the first place. I've got a little story for you.
We begin our series on emotions today, and we are so excited to explore emotions. Emotions, we find the emotional body needs some support. It's something that we haven't had a grasp on until now. Um, so many times we have an experience, and our vocabulary for emotions is so small that we say that was a great experience. I thought it was great. I'm happy. How did that make you feel? And people say good, or that was a horrible thing. How does that make you feel? Bad. And we don't have the vocabulary, so it doesn't feel like it does justice to the experiences.
Right.
So we want to take some time and to focus on these different emotions so that we can expand our understanding of them, and to really, because when we understand them, then we can go deep inside and understand more about ourselves and our experiences. So we're going to take them one at a time. It's going to be amazing, and we are excited.
So, like Michelle was talking about, one of the things that is important to realize is that we really have a lack of depth in our description of emotion. And so, when I was 5 years old and my ice cream scoop fell off the top of my ice cream,
Yeah.
and I fell on the cement, and I could say, "Oh, I'm so sad. I just lost my ice cream." Um, when I was 12 and my parents got divorced, I would have also said, "Oh, I'm so sad."
Mm-hmm.
And yet, the depth of that sadness from one to the other was so extremely different that really it's hard to kind of quantify our
Mm-hmm.
emotions or really be able to express the depth of it.
Yeah. Same word, totally different
Yes,
experience.
yes, yes. So it's important to realize that emotions are energy within us that is in motion. Something happens and we get a feeling. We react to that. We think a thought and we react to that.
Mm-hmm.
We're startled by something and we react to that. And so, this energy that gets stirred up inside of us is a response to what's happening in our life.
Mm-hmm.
And when that energy has nowhere to go, if we don't know how to process our emotion or feel our emotion
Mm-hmm.
or what to do with our emotion, it gets stuck inside of us somewhere. And that energy will just circle around
Spin.
itself like
Yeah.
an atom almost,
Mm-hmm.
where that emotion feels trapped. And it's hard to know how to process it. We
Mm-hmm.
don't know what to do with it. And so oftentimes we just bury it or shut it down or shut it off or quit feeling.
And what happens sometimes, it's the thoughts that just circle and circle, and we replay that scenario
Yes.
over and over again. And so we almost need to shut down, or we won't be able to function in the world.
It makes us crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
yeah.
So understanding the energy is um, happening within us to be able to, first of all, put a word to it, to be able to identify what is it I'm feeling, why is this unsettling me.
Mm-hmm.
That's important because we've got to be aware of what we're feeling inside, but then find ways to express that in a
Mm-hmm.
healthy way and find resolution for that so that we can move forward in our life is important.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Emotions are, uh, uh, they're a message for our safety. We talk about how, if the tiger's after you, you feel an emotion to get out.
Yeah.
Something that I've learned lately, and if you read the book Running on Empty, it's so well thought out and put to good use about how important this is. But what I've learned is, so those negative emotions, those fear, the anger, or the grief that are giving us messages to help heal, like the pain is
Mm-hmm.
how we heal. But also the positive emotions are just as vital to our growth and our safety and our ability to live and thrive in the world. So if we think, hey, if we were missing that emotion, fear, if that was just gone, we wouldn't live very long. We would not live very long, or we would not be able. Our body would not be whole and healed for very long, because we would walk out in the world without that. So think about that as far as love is concerned. Love is just as vital, and if we don't have that love, if we don't know how to give and receive that love, then we are not going to be as whole and as healed as the same as those negative emotions. So we're going to work on both the positive and the negatives. And one good place to start is the chart of emotions from the book Power versus Force. And he's just gone into and made it such a great way of looking at the level of emotions and how they play out in our lives, the vibration that they hold. And looking at this chart, you really do, when you look at some of these lower vibrations, you can see how, and if you connect to them, you can feel them in the body, and how they feel and how different they are, and how the negative emotions begin to degenerate the body. They are not helpful in regeneration. They actually do the opposite. But that's the best part, is then the positive emotions actually do regenerate the body. And so it's important to get familiar with both kinds of emotions, so that you can work through the negative ones and get the help that you need, but also learn to accept and learn to find ways to bring more of those positive emotions into your experience.
Yeah, for sure. And one of my motivations in starting this series on emotions is I was working with a client one time, and we were going back to an experience from their childhood. And as we explored that and they were remembering, what happened that day, I said, tell me how you felt when you were there at the beach. Well, I remember it was a sunny day. Okay, well, so the sun was out, you were enjoying yourself. Tell me how you felt. Well, I remember that my little brother was building a sandcastle. Okay, well, so that was happening. Tell me how you felt. And I went on with 5 different questions asking, how did you feel? And there wasn't one time that they could answer it with a true emotion. They kept talking about the experience from the memory of the mind. And that is not emotion, that is the mind.
Right, that's the mental body.
And it really broke my heart and helped me realize how ill-equipped we are in our society sometimes to deal with emotion. We're not taught how to handle our emotion. We're taught, if you're angry, stop it. If you're sad, go to your room. If you're feeling guilty, well, don't do that again. We're not taught what to do with all that we feel. And so our goal and our hope in this series is to help you, first of all, recognize emotion. Let's put a word to it. Let's look at the depth of it. Let's see how it's empowering us or disempowering us. How is it affecting our body? How are we feeling inside? And how do we shift this emotion? If it's not helping us and healthy for us, what do we do with it? So we hope you enjoy the series, and we hope that you've learned something today about what emotions really are. And if you subscribe in the button with the button below, then you'll be able to get the daily updates as to what emotions we're talking about and what's being released.
So stick around and hear all the emotions.